Okay, I welcome all of you to Kalalgoda English Medium Retreat. Today we have a new presenter. So we'll start with the written questions.
There are already 7 questions.
Yeah.
2 on Dhamma and on
Yes.
meditation.
Yes.
First one is Venerable Bhante. As a beginner, I would like to know exactly what ought to be done. Is it just to look at the breath, or if there is any pain elsewhere in the body, if we should go to where the pain is, watch for a while and then come back to the breath?
Yeah. I think this is a common question typically we are facing, especially for beginners. When you start with meditation, you can't continuously be with the breath. There may be certain pains and all such difficulties. So actually the first best thing is to stay with the breath. So it might be difficult because the pain might be severe. So on such occasions, what I would like to suggest is to change the posture. This instruction is mainly for the beginners. You can slightly change your posture and then come back to the breath. So there are 2 ways of doing that. Very much like, say, you are keeping your attention on the breath, and then you can, as a background activity, you can change the posture while maintaining your attention at the breath, so that the harm or disturbance happen during this changing of the posture is very minimal. Then you can continue your meditation, that is on your breath. On the other hand, the other option is you can switch your attention to this particular pain rather than maintaining at the breath, and then slowly, mindfully change the posture, and you can observe how pain disappears or at least reduced, and then you can come back to breath. So this way, there is no big harm or any disturbance happen, only the object has changed. As you know, the object can change, but still the mindfulness continue. Undisturbed mindfulness is available, but the object has changed. And once this pain disappears, you return back to breath. So basically, these 2 options you can use. So if say for example, your attention is quite happening well with the breath, on such occasion, disturbing your attention is little kind of a disadvantage. So on such occasions, maintain or continue your attention on the breath. And as a background activity, you can change the posture. That also not a quick change, but rather slowly. As a background activity, you can change the posture. Just try your best to make the least harm or least disturbance by changing the posture. And on the other hand, since this is from a beginner, I would like to suggest, just maintaining your attention on the breath is not the only activity. Just check, you can simply maintain your attention on the posture and then check which one is much prominent. Say, is it the breathing activity or is it the rising and falling activity? You can choose one of them. For beginners, mostly sometimes the rising and falling might be more convenient because it has more vibration, or rather more prominent. It's more evident. So you can use rising and falling rather than going to breathing. But if you are satisfied or if you are comfortable with breathing, maintaining your attention on the breathing, that's also fine. You can keep your attention at the nostril, and then you can maintain attention on each in-breath, each out-breath. So you can you can select one of these, and don't pay your attention on both. At the beginning, you can check as an overall activity which one is more prominent, and then you can select one of them and continue in the long run. But in the long run, don't keep your attention on both activities. You need to select one of them and then continuously keep your attention on that. Yes. So you can feel, come forward and ask any question, and if there is any something to add to this answer, or if you need more clarification, feel free to ask. Yes.
Venerable Bhante, primary object as the breath. Primary object as in breath and out breath. I was able to observe this passage, how the in breath was cooler and longer, whereas the out breath was warmer and shorter. The breath thinned and became almost non-existent at one point. Is this a very primitive transitory state of samadhi? If so, how do I proceed to vipassana from here?
Yeah, actually, don't be in a hurry to switch to vipassana. Just allow this to happen, smoothly. Basically, there are several stages Buddha has mentioned. So you simply use breath to anchor your mind. That is the very first stage. So rather than allowing the mind to distract to the past or to the future, you are using breath as an anchoring mechanism. So continuously breathing is used for anchoring the mind, just to keep your attention on the breath. Sato asasati, sato pasasati. That is the beginning. So actually we can start with where we are. Actually we can't go to the most subtle state. Rather we have to start with something available, something possible. And then Buddha goes to the next stage, that is Digang Vasa Santo, Digang Asasami Pajanati. And then the Rasang Vasa Santo, Rasang Asasami Pajanati. That indicates that you are now able to see more closely what are the characteristics of the breath. So at the beginning you can't see more these minor differences, but later on you can even closely look at the breath, and so you can recognize there are slight changes available in the breath. The in-breath and out-breath are different. Say for example, in-breath may be cooler and the out-breath may be warmer. Or in-breath happens in one nostril, the out-breath happens on the other nostril. So likewise there may be different changes to the in-breath and to the out-breath. So you recognize these changes as well. And further you refine your mindfulness, then you will be able to recognize these two consecutive in-breaths are not similar, not 100% similar. There may be slight differences. So that if you are able to recognize these slight differences, that indicate that your mindfulness is very sharp. We typically tell it as clear comprehension, sampajanya. So mindfulness has established and you are closely looking at the object, and you can see or you can recognize these minor changes, little changes. That indicates that you are capable of closely paying your attention and to recognize slight details, and your clear comprehension or sampajanya is now improved. So this is the other two stages, either the previous in-breath, or rather when compared to the previous in-breath, this particular in-breath may be longer. When compared to the previous in-breath, this in-breath appears shorter. Or when compared to the previous out-breath, this out-breath appears like longer. Compared to the previous out-breath, this out-breath appears like shorter. So basically this is more into the time. So you observed or you felt the previous in-breath, say for example 5 seconds. But the present one has lasted for say 7 seconds or 8 seconds. So that indicates the present in-breath is more longer. On the other hand, say for example, previously you have observed or experienced your out-breath, maybe say for example 8 seconds. But the present one immediately finished say within 4 seconds. So that means the present out-breath is more shorter. So that means you are capable of recognizing these subtle characteristics, indicating your clear comprehension is improved. So continue like this, and if you are capable of recognizing these subtle differences, then try to see how it is beginning, how in-breath begins. At the beginning, actually, we can't recognize all these subtle details. Rather, we can recognize only the gross part, that is the middle part, that has more intensity. But later, as your mindfulness improves, you would be able to recognize even the beginning, very slight, very smooth, very slow beginning of the in-breath. And then it may be increasing, the intensity may be increasing, and you will be able to recognize the more steepest part or the highest point, threshold point, and then it is reducing, and ultimately it also disappearing, and ultimately it completely disappears. That means in-breath has over. Now you can even recognize there's a little gap before the beginning of the out-breath. Out-breath also starts very smoothly, very slightly, and you will be able to recognize that. Actually, this we need to try hard. Hard in the sense not with a lot of effort, but with very attentively. You have to keep your attention very slightly, very in a balanced manner. Otherwise, you can't recognize this slight beginning, smooth beginning, and the smooth ending. And you need to maintain the proper balance. Then only you would be able to recognize these small characteristics, slight characteristics. And then, as a result, your breath typically starts to calm down. That Buddha says, Passambhayam kaya sankharam asatissāmiti sikkati. Passambhayam kaya sankharam pasatissāmiti sikkati. Your in-breath calms down, your out-breath calms down. Actually, you can't forcefully do it, but you simply can recognize the subtle characteristics of each and every breath, and because of your continuous attention, your improved focus, then the breath itself starts to calm down. So it's a kind of a natural cause and effect result. You can't make it. Rather, when you are closely paying your attention to in-breath and out-breath, it itself starts to calm down. So this is the yogi is asking, so is it a transient state or is this the beginning of the vipassana? It can be said it is a transient state, but you can recognize this state. It's not immediately disappearing, but slowly the breath disappears. Slowly breath calms down. So at this stage you should not get up, or you should not fall asleep, or you should not change your posture, or you should not breathe forcefully. Rather, you have to allow it to happen. So you have to restrain yourself not to change your posture, not to fall asleep, not to change the object, not to forcefully breathe. Rather, let the breath calm down. So you have to support it. So that is why Buddha is referring the word sikkati. Sikkati means restraining yourself. So you have to careful on this stage. So you have to understand, okay, now the breath is calming down. I have to maintain the posture. I have to behave in a way to support this process. And I should not fall asleep. And I should not breathe forcefully. Let the breath calms down. So you have to maintain all these facilities. Then breath calms down. It almost can become unnoticeable. So even at this stage, don't try to forcefully breathe. Just maintain your attention at the nostril. So this is very much like the beginning of the concentration, or rather say kind of calm concentration. Even previously your mind is fairly concentrated, but now you are going for a noticeable concentration, noticeable samadhi. If you are able to maintain this state for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, say the in-breath and out-breath is almost unnoticeable, but your attention is at the nostril and you can maintain it for 15 minutes. That means your mind is now very much developing the concentration, samadhi. Yeah.
Well done. I am a yogi who practices both walking and sitting meditation. Earlier I preferred to do walking meditation than sitting meditation, as I managed to maintain mindfulness better in walking meditation. But since last month, after I had blissful feelings during sitting meditation, I spent more time in sitting meditation and my desire to practice walking meditation is gradually diminishing. Is this transformation of my likeness to spend more time in sitting meditation to be reduced? Please advise. Nissarana.
Yeah, better maintain a balanced approach rather than spending more time on sitting. If you can spend 1 hour walking, 1 hour sitting, that is much better. Because if your concentration come forward, so there might be little difficulties in the long run. Because the concentration faculty comes to the front and the mindfulness go behind, and immediately your mind start to concentrate, and it appears like an advantage at the beginning. But later it becomes a disadvantage because you lose your mindfulness, and immediately as you sit, within several minutes, your mind concentrates. And the concentration as a faculty can develop, as a faculty can come forward, and then actually it's very fragile. So this concentration is very fragile. When you get up, it bursts, it finish. Then when you go to walking, you may not experience that kind of a concentration, and rather your mind can scatter, again can be distracted. But on the other hand, if you are maintaining fair amount of mindfulness, and even if you get up, you can maintain your mindfulness, you can maintain your attention, and even on walking, you can maintain some amount of concentration. So therefore the advice is, don't just allow one faculty to come forward, rather maintain kind of a balanced approach. Actually, even mindfulness, that is the sati, coming forward is much advantageous than the concentration coming forward. Because there are certain yogis who prefer sitting more than walking, and they may experience kind of blissful states, and the mind can go to more deeper concentration states, and sometimes they get addicted to these concentration states. So this is not advisable, this is not something favorable in the long run, because the mindfulness has to be in the front, and that is the key for turning yourself to the vipassana. Because in vipassana, the concentration is very much like momentary concentration. Say for example, say you are observing various feelings happening in the body, and it may vary or it may change from place to place. And again the same pain or whatever the feeling even vary, even change when you are observing. So that means the object is constantly changing, and again the place of the object also changing. But your mindfulness can be maintained continuously. So that is the beauty. But for a concentration yogi, concentration-oriented yogi who expects some sort of a absorption, some sort of a maintenance of the continuous concentration on one single object, so this process appears like a disturbance, this process appears like a suffering. But when you are in the vipassana side, so you need to be in this side, sort of appreciate this kind of a concentration, momentary concentration, rather than maintaining a single object concentration. So therefore I advise to maintain kind of a balanced approach, say 1 hour sitting, 1 hour walking, and then these two faculties are basically in harmony. Yes.
Nissarana, Venerable Swami Master. Below are the meditation experiences which I got today. Please be kind enough to advise me to improve. Sitting meditation, Anapanasati. Within 2 to 3 minutes, I could settle my mind. I didn't feel much of breathing, but soon I felt my inner body changing. Dhatu. After like 15 minutes, I could find a relaxed zone which was not troubling me a lot. I felt very comfortable and happy. There I didn't have any thoughts too, but only a few minutes I could get again I could feel breathing as well as dhatu. New experiences. A new experience was while I was in Dhatu Manasakara, I could find that comfortable zone again. I felt so much happy because in that place I didn't have much trouble. Venerable Swami Master, while I was in that comfortable zone, I was feeling Dhatu as well as breathing too. But those didn't disturb me much like other days. This day I could wait more than 1 hour. Walking meditation started without focusing. I could walk 1 hour with mindfulness. Thoughts came, but all the time I knew it and could walk mindfully.
Actually, this comfortable zone can appear. May I know who has written the question? Could you come here? Yeah. So is it the first time you experience this comfortable zone? No. No.
Most of the
Time now we are going there.
Yeah.
So can you explain me the step-by-step process? Say, for example, are you doing anapanasati to develop the concentration?
Yes.
Okay.
Now
Then you are using that concentration. I mean, automatically the various
close to that
Dhatu Manasikara, and now you are observing different characteristics.
And again, coming to the, I think it must be something. I can see my mind like going and coming.
Right.
And also like now I can find some answer the comfortable zone, which is that Dhatu Manasikara, of course, it was really troubling you. Last time I explained you, it's like
Yes.
dead.
Yeah, I can remember now. That
Right?
you told that kind of immense pain is available.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Now no pain.
Actually now the comfortable zone helped me to get rid of that. Like when I feel Dhatu Manasikara, like the Padavi is getting tight here.
Right.
Then I know how to relax my body.
Right.
Right. Then I feel like by listening to Dhamma, I know that without thoughts, if I can stay, that's stay more relaxed. Even
Yes.
day-to-day life also, I feel like if something comes to me, right, I know that's troubling me, so I just forget it, and it's all thoughts, and I can go in that comfortable zone.
Right.
Then I feel trouble for me.
So basically, what you are trying to tell is, at that comfortable zone, there are no thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
I feel very comfortable and happy.
Right.
Then I know that I can go there.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So basically now, as a stepwise process, so when you are observing these various characteristics, is it paving the way to go to this comfortable zone?
It's some sort of like I can bear it, Swaminasa, that feeling, but then it's changing. It's automatically going all over my body.
Right.
So I used to watch it.
Right. Right.
So
Now, I mean, while you are doing Dhatu Manasikara, how you are switching, or that's what I am asking.
Yeah.
So when you are observing various things, so are they paving the way for you to get into the comfortable zone?
Yes.
Okay, it happens naturally.
Yeah, it's happened naturally.
Okay, so basically now you can sort of improve the process. So when you are observing now, different feelings may be available, different element characteristics may be available. So typically, when you are observing different element characteristics, they are also now rather than see the individual characteristics. Say for example, Patavi may have the kind of roughness, stiffness, heaviness, lightness, smoothness, and different characteristics may be available. And say Tejo may have the heat and cold and all these things.
It's always changing, Swaminasa.
Yes.
It's not in one place. Then heat, then again relax.
That's right, no problem. What I am telling is, now see what are the common characteristics of all these. Now you can recognize different individual characteristics of any of these, but all of them are telling the same story, same truth, very much like. Now you pay more attention onto this common truth. So they appear and then show something and then they disappear. Another one appear and they show their face and then disappear. Another one appear and show their face and then disappear. So that is the very much the kind of the absolute truth. So
and the common, the day-to-day life also, I feel that way sometimes, always.
Good, right.
If I eat something, I know it's tasty, then I know it's disappearing.
Correct, correct. Yeah.
Then if somebody scolds me, I know that it's just a word.
Disappearing.
It's disappearing.
Good, good. So basically now see this, how things are coming and going. Whatever is coming, that has to be gone. Definitely it will go. Whatever is arising, it has a nature of passing away. So this is a kind of a insight. Basically it's a kind of an insight that you can't inject that information to the mind. Rather through the observation, these different phenomena tell that truth. So by looking at this and by observing this, your mind understands it. You basically, as a truth, you recognize it. Now you understand, okay, that also coming and going, this also coming and going, maybe feeling also coming and going. And if you look at the mind, thoughts also coming and going. It's a common characteristic, common phenomenon, common truth.
So sometimes I feel, what is this life like?
That's right. So basically now slowly, so you look at everything in that perspective. Okay, things are coming, now it's going, coming and going. On the other hand, it makes you relaxed.
Yeah, it's really relaxed.
Yeah. So you are not grasping, because what we grasp is something of transient nature. Something is coming. Now I am trying to hold it, but it has a nature of disappearing. It has a nature of passing away. But I am trying to hold it. Then I will get frustrated. I am going to suffer, because the nature is coming and going, arising and passing away. So I am going against the current. I am going against the typical law. So now when we understand it, we let go. We simply allow it to happen. I don't need to disturb it. So when it is coming as a natural result, as a natural effect, so why I bother? Why I disturb the process? So let it come and go. Yeah.
And sometimes I can feel, I can watch my body like out of that. I think my mind is doing that.
Correct.
I can feel the body. Then I'm thinking of the trees like that, like
Correct.
me.
Correct.
But only mind they don't have. Like, I feel like that.
Correct. Yeah. So that's much better, because Buddha says that. Buddha says, the yacha jattika patavidhatu, yacha bahira patavidhatu revesa. So basically whatever the internal patavidhatu, internal earth element, and whatever the external earth element is merely the earth element. So we are the ones who has given a name, who has given a value to the internal earth element. But earth element doesn't know.
Sometimes when I do meditation outside, when I feel like every morning I used to do the environment and me is like
Merging or?
Merging. It's like I don't have in that time, like I can't see me.
Correct. So you need to find out where you are.
I'm not worried though.
So basically, that is where the boundaries are disappearing. Internal and external boundary will disappear. So when you understand the nature also has the same characteristics, all the physical world has the same characteristics. So now you have observed the body has some sort of a nature, and the different element characteristics are now obvious to you. The same information or same nature is available in the outside as well. And now the difference, thinking that this body belongs to me, this is more valuable, and this is that notion, that kind of a wrong belief will disappear, and you will understand this is also 4 elements, they are also 4 elements. There is no difference. As you said, now it's very much like mixed up.
Yeah, it's like I'm going like that way,
Yeah.
and again coming back. The wind, when wind comes,
Yeah.
like I'm going like this. it's only few minutes.
Yeah.
But,
so simply now continue and see the common characteristics now. See how different elements are there. Now don't try to look at the individual characteristics. Now individual in the sense, as I said, earth element has its own characteristics. But the fire element has its own characteristics. Now you don't need to recognize that difference. Instead, you understand now this also coming and going, or arising and passing away. That also arising and passing away. Now you leave aside these different individual characteristics, rather pay attention to these common characteristics. And that will make further ease. So your practice become more ease, because now you are looking at the common characteristics. The mind has less stress, less tension, and now that also will ultimately go away and you will come to this comfortable zone. So let it happen. Yeah.
Beginning of first answer, like I thought meditation is so much difficult. Now it's not, it's so interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So continue. Yes, yeah.
Most venerable Bhante, I am new to the subject of meditation. However, I participated for 2 retreats before. I was able to concentrate well during the last retreat and went home quite elated about my progress. After going home, I practiced and experienced experience was satisfactory. I could concentrate on sitting meditation for about 45 minutes well. Today, primary object in breath and out breath in sitting meditation. This session was rather disappointing. However much I I could not concentrate on the breath. Many times I fell asleep. Therefore, as advised by you before, I got up and continued on walking meditation. In this exercise too, I was feeling drowsy. My head was heavy. Going forward, how could I make any progress? Please advise me. May your samsaric journey be short and a steady one, Venerable Dhamma.
Yeah. So if your head is heavy, probably you didn't have a haircut, probably. Check whether you had a haircut, then your head becomes less heavy. So basically, if you are coming up with a lot of hopes, so that itself becomes a hindrance. So just have a little hope. Just I am not going anywhere, I am not trying to achieve something, but I am simply trying to live in the present moment. So just keep a light mind, less hope, and a kind of a beginner's mind. Not thinking that I have to achieve something which I had some time ago, some blissful state I want to achieve, or some sort of a concentration I want to achieve. I want to become a Sotapanna. All these things are burden. All these things are very heavy. So, but rather you come as a little child. Okay, my mind is, I forget about everything. I don't know very much about my home, my occupation, nothing is there. I'm just a newborn baby. Less disturbance or less burden in the mind. And then, okay, now your foot is touching the ground and you are fully accepting that experience. You are appreciating this little experience. So if you have this kind of a very new kind of a mind, kind of refreshing mind, welcoming mind, that is more advantageous or more beneficial to your meditation. But if you come up with a kind of some restricted mind, so I should have this, I should have that, I should do this, I should do that, so that itself becomes a burden to your mind. So have a little relax, just relax yourself, and you are sitting. Okay, now I am sitting. Basically now I don't know what has happened in the past, I don't know what would happen in the future, but right now I am very aware, now the body is sitting. So I can appreciate this normal experience, not the very blissful or extraordinary experience, rather this very little down-to-earth experience. It's a very natural experience, very neutral experience. So try to appreciate this neutral experience, not something artificial, not something extraordinary, rather this very simple experience. Say your foot is touching the ground, now you feel the hardness. Your foot is touching the ground, you feel the wetness, maybe dryness, maybe sort of stiffness. So these are very minor experiences, almost negligible experiences. But now we are giving some value to all these experiences and trying to maintain mindfulness. So that is, if you are trying to think about some more advanced, more extraordinary, more blissful, if you are trying to sort of achieve such thing, then it becomes a burden to you. Rather, if you are simply becoming what I used to tell is earthworm, sort of an earthworm experience. So you are just an earthworm, you know nothing, you know that you are on the ground, you are just sitting, you are not walking, you are not lying down, you are not standing, right now you are sitting. The sitting posture is more comfortable, you feel comfort. Okay, now your mind is not going to the past or not dreaming about the future, but it is well grounded, and you know you may have a little pain, there may be a slight irritation, there may be a little drowsiness, doesn't matter, but you are well aware of it. So if you can come to this neutral experience, if you can welcome, if you can acknowledge this neutral experience, and if you can give some value to it rather than expecting something more beautiful, then this mindfulness improves. So this more normal experience, ordinary experience will lead you to develop mindfulness. Yes.
Very well done there. Kindly explain Kayanukasati Viharati in detail. There was one.
Yeah. So, I will explain it in different stages. The very first stage, say typically our mind wanders either in the past or the future. So that is the nature of our typical mind. So it likes to stay or linger about the past. So there may be various interesting incidents happen in the past. So it grabs all these past experience and now trying to sort of like enjoy those past experience. On the other hand, there may be certain hopes towards the future, and there may be various plans in your mind, and then the mind goes to the future, or rather mind value those things which are planning going to be happen in the future, and now it's in the future. So these two are the extremes, these two are the boundaries where your mind is typically wandering. Now rather going towards them, now you are trying to be in the present. So while being in the present, your mind still needs something to get hold to. So now we are using the body as an anchoring point. Body as this holding position, holding place. So Buddha has mentioned different objects within the body. Breathing is one object. Then the various characteristics, that the element characteristics is another object. Then different body components. You are contemplating, you are keeping your attention at different components throughout the body. That's another object. Another method. Say simply keeping your attention simply within the posture is another object. So all are related to the body. All basically has some relationship to the body. So your attention is now confined or restricted within this body. In one object, say within the whole posture, another object, say the rising and falling of another object, the breathing, another object, different element characteristics, another object, different components, but still everything is within the body. Now rather than mind starts to distract, go out of the body or go thinking different other external things, now mind starts to come back to yourself. Now you start to live rather than daydream. rather than living the past. Now you start to live the present moment. So body always stays in the present moment. It happens in the present moment. And this experience we are using to keep our mind also in the present moment. This is very much the beginning of the meditation for Kaya Kayanupassaya Viharati. And later actually you will understand this body, even though I recognize it as my body. So later you can look at it objectively rather than considering it as my body. You recognize it is something natural thing, kind of a natural phenomenon. It's a kind of a cause and effect relationship. Things are happening due to certain causes. Say the breathing happens. So breathing is a natural process happening within the body. So it is not that I am breathing, rather breathing happens. So you look at the breathing as a process, natural process. Your perspective different, change from my breathing to just breathing. Breathing is something universal. Every being is breathing, say for example. So you are now changing your perspective and you are now observing this natural process happening naturally within the body. And this will change the perspective, and now you are looking at this natural process, and this now you are recognizing even different characteristics of this breathing. Now this information or this understanding is very much kind of an insight, and it can change your typical notion, typical understanding, normal understanding to a completely different kind of understanding. Now you are looking at something natural, something kind of a process, and it is happening. It is not that you are doing, rather it is happening. And it happens to other beings as well, to others as well. And now we are looking at a different angle of this particular process. And later, if this kind of insight starts to develop, now you are using the body to improve mindfulness and to improve wisdom. So that is another stage happening. So the body becomes kind of an instrument for you to develop mindfulness and wisdom. So in the long run, you understand, okay, some kind of an understanding happened because of this meditation or because of this observation, but still it is very transient. I can't maintain it for a long time. Again, I get back to the typical worldly notion. But you have some sort of a glimpse of an understanding. Now you want to improve it. Now you want to make it available for you. So now you have to maximize it. So you are using the body as an instrument to improve this insight, to maintain this insight, to enhance this insight. So that is that, and on such occasion the body becomes merely an instrument. So then the real meaning of Kaya Kayanupassaya Viharati, where you merely use the body as an instrument, as a natural process for you to develop mindfulness and wisdom. Yeah.
Asma, most respected Bhante, please explain about non-existence, Sunyata, in Dhamma.
So we have to exist now. So let's exist first and then we will go to non-existent. Actually, Shunyata also does not give the notion of non-existent. Rather, the real meaning of Shunyata means that there is no kind of a permanent or lasting or eternal being or eternal soul. It is lack of such soul. Permanent, lasting, eternal soul is not available. It's empty of such notion, empty of permanent, lasting, eternal soul. So it is empty. Sunyamidang attenava attaniyenava. That is how Buddha defines it. It is empty of soul, or something can be called as soul, and that is therefore it is empty. That's a process to get into there, where you may be continuing your, say, satipatthana, keeping your attention or being mindful about the body or feelings or mind or mind objects, and then you are very much understanding the real nature of all these things, how much they are transient, and how the various conditions are causing for them to appear, conditions for them to arise in the present moment. And ultimately, when the mind understands this process, when the mind really understands how these different causes are happening, causes are coming together and then causing or conditioning, then and there, as a process. At this given moment, there are certain causes coming together, and as a result, a result can happen. Then again, different causes coming together, as a result, something can happen. So likewise, this every time, every moment, these different causes are causing, conditioning. Then and there experience, then and there arising of different results, and then they disappear. So when you understand this kind of a process, then where can we find the essence? Is there some kind of a core available? It's unchanging, everlasting, eternal core. Is there such thing? There you can't find such thing. So then the mind becomes sort of a letting go, and then mind becomes empty. So this, therefore, Buddha has mentioned in different suttas. So kind of how one can develop one's mind to grasp nothing. So basically, mind is free. This freedom, this kind of a release of different attachments will lead to the emptiness or sunyata. Yeah. Yes.
Sunyata is not an absolute concept, but is always relative.
Relative in this, that's also one. That's also true. That is what Buddha has mentioned in the Chula Sunyata Sutta. That's also very beautiful sutta. Correct. Yes. Yeah. Buddha says, say for example, say when you are coming to, to a village, then Buddha says, okay, if you were in a city, the city has a lot of, say, vehicles, lot of noise, say, various buildings. But if you are coming to a village, to a monastery, you have less disturbances, you have less noise, you have less buildings, less people. So in that sense, it is empty. But still, it is not empty, because still it has, say, if you are coming to a, say, Kalalgoda, for example. Now this Kalalgoda, this within the boundary, there are no moving vehicles, or there are no much noise, or less disturbance. So likewise, it is now empty of all those things, but still not empty of certain other things. Maybe it is still not empty of flies, mosquitoes, mud, maybe different yogis. So all this still not empty. So relatively it is empty, and still again relatively not empty. But now say you are keeping your attention on your body. Now suppose your mind is well concentrated or well refined only to the body. On that time, now you are able to let go of all the other things belonging to Kalalgoda. Okay, you don't know how many yogis are there, you don't know about the others, say you don't know where you are, and you can't now much feel about the flies, mosquitoes and all these things, but your mind is well concentrated within your body. On that situation, your mind is empty of all these external phenomena belonging to Kalalgoda, but your mind is not empty of your body. There may be certain pains available, mind is going here and there, some irritations are available, all these things are still not empty, still available for you. So relatively it is empty of the Kalalgoda related matters. Then Buddha says, okay, now you are paying your attention to one particular characteristic. Say you are keeping your attention only on breathing. Now your mind is well concentrated only on in-breath. Now you can't recognize, or your whole other body has disappeared, you only know in-breath. So in-breath also may have certain differences. So okay, it is kind of a rubbing sensation, it may be little cold. So likewise it has some information. So on such information, it is not empty, it is available for you, But on the other hand, when compared to the whole body experience, it has gone. It is empty of whole body experiences. Different pains and all these things are now gone. It is empty now. Now, say for example, you are keeping your attention on the breath. That is also arising and passing away. Arising and passing away. Assume in a particular given moment that also disappears. Then what happened? So now what is available for the mind? So assume now mind is not holding anything. There is no object as such. On such occasion it may experience fair amount of emptiness. It is more superior than the previous emptiness because now it is more empty. Now suppose Buddha says, so still this is more conditioned, still you are maintaining it with effort. Immediately when your concentration drops, again you may feel various discomfort available in the body. Still it is not very much lasting or kind of satisfactory. And on the other hand, Buddha says there is some emptiness which is the most supreme one, where you recognize while maintaining this kind of a unassociated state, you recognize how this mind going and grasping various things, how various defilements are arising. So how still mind goes and grasps something related to the, say, panchakama. Say you have something, say joyful related to the eyes, something joyful to the ears, nose, tongue, body. So still mind goes and grasps these things. So kamasava is there. Still mind likes to consider yourself as someone. Say, I exist, I breathe, I eat, I want to go on tomorrow, I am meditating. So that's a kind of a bhava, the bhavasava, where you recognize or you like to be a person, you like to be someone, somebody. So on the other hand, that's the kamasava, bhavasava, avijjasava. So giving this kind of a wrong understanding is because of the ignorance, avijjasava. So Buddha says if there is a possibility to completely be free from all these asavas, influxes, so that is the maximum. That is the most pure form of emptiness, which is free from kamasava, bhavasava, avijjasava. So that is the relatively Buddha is explaining emptiness. Yes, thank you for nodding. Yes. Yes. So yeah. So that's all we have received as the written questions. If you have any verbal questions to forward, feel free to do that. If you have something, yeah. You can actually, if you can come forward, yes. Yeah.
One thing, this is pure Dhamma.
Yes. We are also discussing pure Dhamma.
Meditative experiences.
Right.
Buddha has, in so many sutras, explained how Vijnana occurs.
Vijnana occurs.
So that is one scenario. And so that is so in respect of all the senses. But on the other hand, Paticcasamuppada has Vijnana at the top. Receiving
Sankhara
and others, such as Salayatana and Hasa. So how do you reconcile? I don't understand how that
relationship.
Yeah, because Thero, I can remember mentioning that there is no pure Vijnana as such. It is always
conditioned.
this condition then created in relation
to various objects, senses. Yes.
So how does that occurs at the formula of Paticcasamuppada? There is...
Yeah, actually there also Buddha mentioned the 6 types of vijnana. When Buddha explained the Paticcasamuppada, Cha Vijnana Kaya, different 6 types of vijnanas there. Chakku vijnana, Sota vijnana, Jivha vijnana, Kaya, Gahana vijnana, Jivha vijnana, Kaya vijnana, Mano vijnana. 6 types of vijnanas there. Now the point is, now say for example, say your eye is sort of towards certain object. At that time, say say that some sort of a color and the shape of that object appears in the eye. So at that time, okay, the I recognize, or rather because of this coincidence, because of this impingement, so the eye consciousness happened. So on such time, the eye consciousness, when it happens, so we start to very much like recognize it as it is a fan. Okay, it is a fan. So and I see a fan. So at that time we are far away in the Paticcasamuppada, already caught up with the Paticcasamuppada. Because when this eye consciousness happened, that very instance this differentiation has happened, distinction has happened. There's an object and there's an I. There's someone and something. So differentiation is already there. So at that time I am giving some value to this fan, and I am giving something value to me, and I want to have a fan. This fan is better than that fan, or blah blah things. All this process happens because of the sankhara, because of we are now manipulating, we are now fabricating.
Prapancha.
Yeah, prapancha, before prapancha, so this happens because of I am doing some fabrication. No, it is not that I stop at the seeing as seen. Rather, when it happens, I give some value to it, and I recognize it, and I give, this is the brand, so this is something very important, blah blah blah. So likewise, now I am fabricating, now I am artifying it. Rather, say I am preparing the experience. So this happens because of the sankhara. So, and why I do that? Because of the ignorance. So recognizing this as fan, as something, and here as someone, as I, also due to ignorance. So this is where we don't stop at the unconsciousness level. Rather, we go beyond that. We manipulate there. We sort of fabricate there. So this whole process will lead to various further thoughts happening in the mind. So among the salayatana, now the manayatana, the mind becomes the more prominent, and now say my mind starts to appear, my mind starts to arise. It was say for example, it is very calm at the moment, at that time, before that. Now because of this seeing, now mind starts to again illuminate, or mind starts to manifest. Okay, now starts to think various things. Salayatana, passa, vedana. Now say it is a beautiful thing that I want to have it. So by seeing it, I become very happy. So the feelings are there. Now the tanha, craving, is available. Now the mind become grasping there. Now there's a world appeared because of this. So with this fan, you can't recognize it. But say a young man looking at a young girl. So now he is in a different world, not in the simple experience. Rather, he has gone to a new world. So this new world appears the bhava, as an existence, as a different kind of a world, kind of an new experience. So this experience itself is very transient. Then it has the nature of jara-marana, the fading, the aging, and the disappearance. So that is the whole process. So this chakkunca paticca rupeja upadi chakku viññānam tinnan sangati passo is the very primordial, very basic, elementary level incident. But there we do all these fabrications, and because of the sankhara, because of the ignorance, and then I am going for more thinking, and all these things are the whole elaboration, whole enhancement happening, which is explained in the Buddha in the Parissamuppada. So I think there is no conflict between these two processes. So it can happen even to the ear, to the nose, tongue, body, and the mind.
One can say that one is micro level, the other one is macro level.
Yeah, we can say so. But on the other hand, this Parissamuppada itself happens in the present moment. It may not take long time for everything to happen. Immediately, I am in a different world. So I couldn't stop just at the seeing level, but immediately, even when I am going to think, oh, this is a beautiful fan, so that itself is a prapancha. So now, say you had kind of a mind which is unassociated, which is not associating anything, which has assume it has complete freedom. Now, if very beautiful object happens at the eye, now mind has lost its freedom, for example. Now immediately, suppose mind has gone to that object, established there, vijnana established there, eye consciousness is there, and now you are fabricating more, and the more mind consciousness are there. So likewise, the whole process is now in action. Yeah. So this whole thing happens because of the sankhara and the avijja. Yeah. As you said, the micro level, maybe we can simply say, okay, that is where Venerable Mahakachana explains in the Madhupindika Sutta, the micro level, where eye and the object is there, then the eye consciousness happen. Tinnan Sangati Passo, the coming together of all three are considered, causes the contact. Pasapacca Vedana, because of the contact, the feeling happens. Yang Vedati Tang Sanjanati, then the recognition happen, and then the vitak happens. Yang Sanjanati Tang Vitakketi, based on what we have recognized, okay, now I am thinking, little thinking. And yang vitakketi tang papancheti. Now I am thinking this way, this way, different ways. Yes.
Earlier it was just happening.
Exactly, that's right. Earlier it's as a natural process it happened. I and object, the chakku vijnana, that is the kind of a natural process. Then something I do, as a person I do, okay, I think, I appreciate, I think. Then I lose that part, now the prapancha does. Then takes over and I am a victim of it.
It's very interesting.
Very interesting, very interesting. Yeah. Good. Hold on. Okay, if there is no any other question, we can wind up the session. So, since we have almost 2.5 days or almost 3 days, please try your best to develop mindfulness and say if you are in the vipassana side, to develop wisdom as well, and maintain silence. And now the rain has stopped, so you can use the outside walking paths as well, and keep a relaxed mind. Don't have a big don't maintain or don't hope a big achievement, rather trying to be very simple, very relaxed, and then and there you appreciate the present moment experience. So if you are going to have various expectations in the mind, then it itself become a burden to you. So therefore have a very relaxed mind, but no talking, no disturbing the others, and just living within yourself. So what your body does, what your mind does. So when your mind goes to the past, understand it, slowly take it back. When your mind goes to the future, understand it, slowly take it back. And when it is in the present moment, see what you feel. Is it something that you have felt by the body, or is something that you can understand what's something going on in the mind? So if you are able to understand something going in the mind, it doesn't mean that it may every time it has to be a wholesome thing. It may be even unwholesome thing. Say something that you feel, say say bad about. Say it is distracting, you feel angry, you feel frustrated, you feel worried. But still, if you know that you are worried, still if you know that your mind has distracted, still if you know that your body feels a little discomfortable, that itself is something understanding, that you are no more in a dream, rather you living in the present moment, and you know, no, mind is not concentrated, it is rather distracted. And you know the body is not comfortable, it is little uncomfortable. So likewise, so understanding that mind is associating something unwholesome at this present moment is not something bad. It's something that we need to appreciate. Buddha says, when mind associate, say lust, if one understand now mind associate lust, it is kind of an understanding, it's an immediate Dhamma, Sanditthika Dhamma. Say if mind become free from lust, if mind can recognize, okay, now mind is free from lust, it is Sanditthika Dhamma. It is available for you. It is something immediate. It is not in the past, not in the future, but right now. At this very moment, mind is free from lust. At this moment, if your mind feel anger, okay, recognize it. Okay, now mind is angry. It is not that I am angry, it is the mind is angry, or anger is available. Anger can be felt. Anger can be recognized. So if you can maintain this kind of objective perspective, okay, you are looking at anger as anger. So if you are able to do this, so you are not feeding anger. You are not pumping any energy to the anger. Now you can recognize anger as anger. As a result, anger may reduce and disappear. And when the mind is free from anger, there also you recognize, okay, now mind is free from anger. Immediately, at this very moment. So then and there, so recognize the mind, or you understand the body, so that itself is some insight. That itself is very valuable Dhamma. So don't try to go for something very artificial, something very extraordinary, but rather be in the present moment and look at yourself. So most ordinary experiences are giving you more valuable insights. Okay, thank you very much for participation, and we'll meet you again at around 4 p.m. for Dhamma sermon.